Hello everybody, welcome back to my page. This week I'm competing in the daily race at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. This is actually a real world track, where they actually have events. And I'm back out here in my Renault RS01. I use this in another one of my races. This is beginning to be one of my favorite cars since they updated Gran Turismo with the new physics on the system. This race I did on the American servers, and I did so because for this particular race, there's no DR rating effect if I do bad or not. So I'm just basically doing it for fun. So my qualifying times, I got fourth place in this race for this position, pole position. In the past, I haven't done very well at this track, and I don't know why. It's just I've always struggled with it because there's not a lot of places where you can make errors and make up for it. But they had some time trials here several weeks ago where you could race on this track for one lap attack, but it was conditions with rain, and I think I raced it so many times in the wet until I learned it so much better, and I was able to manipulate the car through the turns with slick conditions. So I think it has actually helped me on this track today. Already the first lap in, I began in position 4. I'm now in position 2. And leader of the pack is a racer from Brazil, and I find this really odd, but I guess since my wife is Brazilian and I know a lot about what goes on in Brazil, he named his username is Lazaro, of all things. Lazaro is a serial killer that actually killed a lot of people in Brazil, and he was recently killed a few years ago in a shootout with the police. So I find it strange that this guy uses as his user handle on his car. I'm assuming that since he's on American servers, he probably doesn't know that there's a lot of Americans don't know who this guy is, but I know who he is, and I think it's pretty morbid that that's who he used as his handle on his car. Anyway, I'm up in position 2, and I'm gaining on the killer, or Lazaro, and he actually has a penalty, and I'm pulling him in. I'm up to take the position from him. I'm trying to run really clean in this race, and the majority of the racers in this lobby are S-rated drivers, and even Lazaro is actually S-rated, but as the race goes on, it's like he does some pretty questionable things that's typical that I've seen a lot of Brazilians do on these servers. They're very good racers, but they have a tendency to race really dirty. When they have a chance to see an opening, they're going to take it. It's like they're going to win at all costs. I don't exactly like that attitude, but that's how they race. So I'm prepared for a fight with Lazaro. He has penalties, which is going to allow me more time to pull him in. I'm catching up with him. So I take the inside. He tries to force the inside to shut the door. That's totally legit. And also right here, it's like, he's protecting his line pretty good. So really, so far, so good. So you're going up in the first turn of a lap. This is a high-speed turn that goes to a really sharp right-hander. It actually has elevation changes, and as you can see, the car got a little unsettled. So we're coming out of a long straight. We're going to an uphill turn. It's a 90-degree turn, but it's also off camber, so you have to be really careful powering out of there not to lose the rear end. I take the inside here. Make a clean turn, effortless turn. We both hit it pretty good, so no mistakes from either of us. So I'm gonna make another attempt going down in this downhill turn where it goes to a really sharp banking, almost 180 turn on the inside. Just waiting for him to make a mistake, and he just made a mistake. He actually went off the track, got some dirt on his tires. So I knew that going up in this next turn, I would have the advantage because he still has dirty tires. So I'm able to take the inside from him right here. Made a clean pass. So we'll hold this position. Actually, this is probably my best lap on this course today. So the rest here is pretty good. It's like I run a pretty good race. Although I make a mistake at some point in one of the turns. I think it's this next turn in the next lap, which actually allows them a little bit of a chance to catch up with me a little bit. See, as you can see right there, there's kind of it's a sharp turn. It's actually off camber a little bit, and if you hit it a certain way and you accelerate at the wrong time, you can lose control of the car. A lot of people spin out right there in that turn. And also up here in this turn too. This tricky part about this course, it's got a couple of turns that are really sharp with elevation changes. And when you use high-powered cars, it's really easy to lose control. But like I said, the lap attack that they had out here, I actually drove in my Audi that I love so much that I can no longer use, because with the new physics, it seems like they've nuked that car for the daily races. And it's like they don't allow tuning in daily races, because I can adjust the LSD in these cars, which doesn't affect the balance of performance, which I don't know why Polyphony doesn't allow tuning. Since they have it there, I could use my car. But as it is now, everything is default, and the only thing that you can modify is your brake balance. And it makes it really hard to drive a lot of the cars with the new physics updates that they've made. That's why there's so many meta cars in every race, because that's for that particular track. That course is the only one that's the best car for that track. If they would allow tuning and keep the balanced performance with all cars, you can see a variety of cars. So I don't know why Polyphony does things this way, because I like to see a race where not everybody's racing against the same car. But this is where I made the mistake. And he's catching up with me a little bit. He's going to do something pretty questionable, which I knew I was expecting to happen, because that's the way a lot of racers do on U.S. servers, especially Brazilians. He's going to try to push me out in this turn. He made contact to try to take the inside, but I wasn't giving up that easy. I fought for it, and I got it back. As you can see, he almost went off the track because he was trying to force me off, but I got back on. Now I'm going to leave him to deal with karma with the car that's behind him. So they're going to fight a little bit. Yeah, I don't like driving with people like this, because, if it were like iRacing, where they actually have a reporting system where you could get people banned, you wouldn't see this type of stuff. So it's like, people that do Gran Turismo daily races, they know the rules, and they know how they can get away with doing dirty driving without getting penalties. And one way to do it is by not making contact from behind with a car. You could push your car out and not receive a penalty, which I don't think that's cool. So what happens here, I'm in first place, and going back to look at the replays, there's a battle back here behind me going on between the Brazilian and the person in NSX. And while they were fighting, that allowed me to actually increase my lead on the course. The rest of this race was pretty uneventful, except for going back and look at the replays, the action was the battle for second place that's behind me. Like right here, a person actually got punted from the course in the turn, and Lazaro actually pit maneuvered the guy coming out of the turn, and the guy was in second, lost all of his positions. And after this race, I saw, his SR rating went down because of that. It's just no really point in racing like that, because I raced on a lot of servers in a lot of European and United States, and I don't care what race I'm in, I'm not going to try to punt nobody in the turn. If I can't make a clean pass without contact, I'm going to let them have and try to overtake them without contact. So I'm in the final turn here. Like I said, I think me practicing this course in the rain gave me a little bit of an advantage, because now that it's dry, I can hit everything just perfectly. And when you're driving on wet tires, you plan your turns better and you hit the lines better. I won it. Thanks for tuning in for this race, you guys. I won. See you next time.